Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Cardone Zone and another episode of Young Hustlers, where every single week we help the people that have that young hustle deep inside of them. We help them with the strategies and the tactics to get more of what they want in a shorter period of time, because who wants to be old and stale before you make any money? Nobody. So this week, I'm going to be talking about something very important if you want to reach new levels of success. I'm talking about mentorship. Look, there's no better way to get where you want to go than to learn from the people who've already been there. The problem always is, how do I find those people? Where do I find those people? How do I use a mentor? There's a lot of things that you need to be concerned with when you're actually trying to find a mentor. And so on this show, I want to break down the rules of mentorship. This is going to get you into the realm of having a mentor. Because I didn't know how to do it in the beginning. I worked for Grant Cardone. Some of you have been mentored by Grant for years. Some of you would die to have Grant as your mentor. And I was working in his office, and I didn't understand how to be mentored by him. It took some time, but I started figuring it out. And what I'd like to do on this show today is to basically walk you through the things that I did to become a mentee of Grant and to basically maximize my opportunity that I had with him. So the first thing that I will tell you about mentorship, this is rule number one. We're talking rules of mentorship today. So rule number one is you must redefine the definition in your mind of what it means to be a mentor. You know, in the traditional sense, a mentor is somebody who most people feel like they go, they see, they meet with, they hang out with, they have coffee, they share lunch, they do dinner. The fact of the matter is, anybody who is qualified to be mentoring you in the areas that you need it, they ain't got time for all that. They ain't got time for lunch. They ain't got time for coffee. They ain't got time for dinners. I mean, people ask me all the time, they're like, hey, can you mentor me? I'm like, I literally wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the gym at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I work out. I come home. I get like 20 minutes with my kid. I jump in the shower. I kiss my wife and run out the door. And I'm slamming at work until 6:30. I drive home. I spend another 35, 40 minutes with my kid. Then I take him to the bath and I get him ready for bed. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, done. I don't even have time to do anything else other than Cardone, my wife, and my kid. In the gym. So now you got to start thinking with the people that are capable of mentoring you and giving you what you actually need and want, the information that you need and want. Dude, they're busy. Super successful people are busy. Time is their most valuable asset, and you need to start redefining what it means. So what does that mean? It means, number one, you got to start understanding that a mentor does not need to meet with you in order to benefit you. A mentor can help you with the example they set. A mentor can help you understand that like how to act, how to think, how to be, how to treat people, how to go through challenges and obstacles. And you do not even have to have a single conversation to learn these things. And that's what I had to learn from Grant. You know, like I came in thinking that, you know, Grant was going to spend time with me and he was going to take interest in me and he was going to spend some, you know, an hour a day or a week or whatever, like, you know, nurturing me. Dude, he ain't got time for that. He ain't got time for that. And so I had to start rethinking like, okay, so I'm not going to get that. And instead of being a little bitch and getting all sad and hurt and upset, I said, okay, I got to find a way to get what I need and want in a different way from him. So after I came in thinking it was going to be all easy and things were just going to roll, I had to check myself, be like, okay, hey, how am I going to make this work without using him at all? Like, how am I going to make this mentorship thing work with Grant without even talking to him? And that's when I started getting creative. So the first thing that I had to figure out after that, so number one, you got to redefine what it means to be a mentor, because a lot of you think you need face-to-face meetings and you don't. The second thing that you need to do you need to clarify what it is that you want. Biggest mistake you can make is try to get in front of a mentor, try to get in front of somebody who has the ability to mentor you and not even know like what you want. Like, you got to be prepared. If you want to be mentored, you have to be prepared to be mentored. It's been said before that when the student is ready, the mentor or the teacher will present themselves. So these are things that you need to do to get ready to be mentored. Because a lot of you aren't even in a situation where a mentor can easily help you and work with you. Because you haven't clarified what it is you really want. Now, so what does this mean? Obviously, step one of this is figuring out what goals are important to you. You know, your life plan, your life goals, your ideal life. You know, I've called it a bunch of stuff. You can call it whatever you want. You have to begin with the end in mind. You got to know, like, what does your ideal life look like when you're 50 or when you're 60 or when you're 45? Because if you know what that is, then you can work your way backwards and figure out what you need to start doing today in order to do that. So step one is figuring out your ideal scene. Once you work all the way back and you end up to present day, then you need to start identifying the skills, the traits. You need to find the ingredients that will equip you today to get you where you want to go. Let's say it's money advice. Let's say that you want to be, at 60 years old, you want to be worth $25 million, and you work your way all the way back, and year by year, how much money you need to make, how much money you need to invest. You know what kind of house you want to live in, where you want to live, the vacations you want to go on, the schools you want to send your kids to, the charities you want to make investments to. You've planned all that out. You work your way all the way back till today, and you're like, I don't know the first thing about money, okay? The first thing you need to figure out is I need to get educated about money because I don't know nothing, okay? So that's what I mean. You got to clarify what you really want. Some of you think that you need a mentor on marketing, but you don't even have the money piece right. Some of you think that you need a mentor on how to scale your income, but you don't even have the sales basics that will allow you to get into a role where you can produce and be successful at levels high enough that you'll start accumulating income and you can start putting it away to invest it. So you have to know where you want to go in your ideal scene. You've got to work your way all the way back, and you've got to be aware enough to figure out what those deficiencies are before you move forward. So step two is clarifying what you really want. And once you clarify what you want, you're like, okay, I need to be more self-confident. I need to be a better producer. I need to be a better leader. I need to be a more sophisticated investor. I need to have a better attitude. Whatever it may be, I need to be more grateful. Like, whatever it may be, once you work your way all the way back, then you got to come up with a hit list of the things that you need to do today, the things you need to improve today to get you on track to where you want to go, okay? Number three, once you've clarified it, the next thing you need to do is you need to find an expert. Man, this thing, I tell you, sometimes this thing has just got a mind of its own. Number three, you got to find an expert. You got to find an expert in that area. If you want to be physically fit because you know that your body needs to be working so that you have a lot of energy through the day so that you can be as productive as you possibly can be from the time you walk into the office till the time you leave so that you don't have to work a 12-hour day and you can work a 10-hour day so that you have 2 hours to spend with your family, right? See how all of this is starting to come together? You need to start finding people that can help you get where you need to be to get to optimal levels in that area. And not every mentor or every expert is going to be able to help you all the way through. I work out with Anthony Rhodes, my trainer. Follow him on Instagram, anthony.rhodes. He's a big old, big dude, right? Like, I go to him for training because I'm like, man, he's a big dude. He's super fit. He's super in shape. He trains with all these celebrities. Like, he's probably somebody that I need to be, doing the workout thing with. I don't go to Grant Cardone for fitness and personal training. I go to Grant Cardone for money, for business, for investing, for marketing. Now, I'm fortunate enough that G, for me, is a mentor in a lot of different areas. It's very rare to find a guy like Grant. Somebody who is an entrepreneur. They started a business. They scaled the business. That business started with a focus on sales training, then became a marketing business, then became an e-commerce business, then became an investment vehicle, then became a venture company like Like there's some things that are going on with Grant that you can't find in most people. You know, most real estate people are real estate people, that's it. And Grant, for me, I've been able to watch him go between these disciplines and take these core values and principles that he has and apply them in these different areas, and he's successful in every single one of them. Think about that. Dude, think about how you can go be a best-in-class sales educator, #1 person doing business with Fortune 500 companies, and then go to an advertising agency, start an advertising agency, and then immediately get 300 or 400 clients in 4 months. And then you go to real estate, and you start raising money in real estate, and the next thing you know, bam, 50 million, 120 million. We're up to $192 million raised for the most recent funds. Like, when you start seeing people winning on everything that they're touching, stay close to them because they're doing something right. And they've developed a set of rules and principles and ideas and strategies that they implement in all these different areas and achieve massive levels of success. Stay close to them. Trust me, okay? So you've got to find the experts that align with where you're at, and they got to align with you personally. You know, like there are experts out there in the space of personal development and, you know, help people do better that are a little too, you know, touchy-feely, jumpy, you know, rub somebody on the back. That ain't me. Like, I don't want to jump up and down. I don't want to scratch people's back, although I like getting my back scratched sometimes by my wife. Don't get nasty, all right? I like getting my back scratched, but I don't like rubbing strangers' backs. That's just not my thing. Like, I don't think that helps me be a better business person or be a better leader for the company. Like, I'm sorry. But what I like to do is I like to help people get their production up. I like to inspire people. I like to motivate people. I like to help people do the same thing that I did, which is go from nothing and ill-equipped to getting exactly what they want and having confidence that they have control over it. So you got to get connected, not just with the people that will give you the information, with mentors that will give you the information that you need, but there's a handful of sales guys out there that could help you with your sales. But do they jive with you? Do they align with you? Do their ethics line up with you? Those are all decisions that you have to make for yourself. So number 3, after you find the expert in the area that you want to be mentored on, you got to go 4. Number 4 is you got to go deep on their material before you do anything else. Now, people reach out to me. They say, hey, can you mentor me? Can you coach me? Can you help me? Like, the very first question that I will ask them is, are you watching Young Hustlers? Have you watched every show that we've ever done? Because if you haven't, then the questions that you're going to answer have likely been answered in the past. Like, that is a waste of somebody's time. That's an immediate turnoff for somebody that you want to have as a mentor. You gotta come to them with like, hey, Grant, when you shot that video in 2010 about blah, 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 it changed everything for me. I'm a student. I've been all in. I've watched every video on your YouTube page 3 or 4 times. I've been through Cardone University. I've been to all your events. Like, when you come with all of that background and you come to Grant and you say, hey, Grant, in Rules of Success, in Go for Failure, when you talk about making failure a target, how do I apply that in my career as an insurance salesperson? Like, now it's like, whoa, you've gone through, dug into the material, you understand my deal. Like you're not going to ask me a question that's a waste of my time to answer because it's already been answered somewhere else. So you want to pick up every piece of information you can. Like when I really want to go into the health thing, I'm like, okay, so I'm with Anthony. He's training me. He's exercising me. He's going through diet things. I'm researching ketogenic diets and paleo diets and low carb and no carb and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm trying to learn all this stuff because I'm interested in all that. So I'm not reaching out to, whoever invented the keto diet. What's his name? Atkins? I think they call it something different now, but it was Atkins, but I think he died. So I think they had to rebrand that one because it didn't work, right? So I want to collect as much data as I can on my own before I reach out to anybody because it shows time invested. It shows commitment not just somebody looking for a shortcut. People reach out to Grant all the time. Hey, how would you handle this problem, this sales problem? I'm like, I see some of these messages. I'm like, bro, you're an idiot. He has a $25 book. You don't even have to come to an event. You don't have to travel. You don't have to go through Cardone University. You could pick up a $25 book and your questions answered there 15 different ways. Don't be stupid. You know? Like, that doesn't show that you're committed. So these rules of mentorship about you preparing yourself. Because what you'll find is if you start doing these things, you will be able to have an unbelievable mentoring-mentee relationship with some of the most successful people in the world, and you'll never speak to them once. You'll be able to learn from them, study them, internalize what they talk about, and make it your own, and then actually go out and duplicate it and apply it in your own life, and you're going to win with it. Because you don't need to have lunch with somebody or go to dinner with somebody or hang out with somebody or grab a drink with somebody or whatever. You don't have to do that to be mentored. And so this is both extremely, like, for some of you, disappointing because you're like, oh man, I really thought it had to look like this. But it's the most encouraging thing ever because that means you can literally access any person in the world and have them as your mentor. So you got to go deep on the material. It shows that you're committed. It shows that you've invested the time and the energy and the effort to put forward. Most mentors don't even need your money. Dude, people pay Grant $100K for coaching. The $100K doesn't mean anything. He's just trying to get somebody to make a significant enough investment so that he knows that they're serious and they'll actually do what he tells them to do. $100,000 will not change Grant's life. $5,000 for a coaching session probably ain't going to change your coach's life. But what it does is it pre-qualifies you as somebody that's serious about making a change, and you'll be willing to actually implement and apply what you learn. The rules of mentorship. These are vital for you to know. It changed everything for me. Again, up to this point, I was working for Grant, okay? I had to redefine what it meant to be to have a mentor because Grant wasn't jumping out of the gates to, sit down with me and work things out and find out what's important to me. So I had to immediately pivot. I didn't blame him for this. Like, I wasn't like, oh man, what a dick. I can't believe he's not helping me. I was like, okay, I get this now. Very successful person, very little time. I need to start looking and watching and figuring out really like what I want so that I can get clear on that. And then I can start looking for the things that he's doing that will help me figure out how to get through those things, handle these situations, improve my skill or ability in a specific area. I knew he was the right guy because he had the badass house and he had all, tons of money and he had a beautiful wife and he was just starting a family. I'm like, okay, I want all this stuff. This is what I want. This is a guy to follow. And then what I did is I started going deep on the material. I listened to every program. I went through Cardone University so many times. In every video, I knew what Grant was going to say before he even said it. So I started getting deep in the material. And what I found is when you get to number 5, which is the final rule of the day for mentorship, questions are everything. Great questions are a game changer in your life. Now up to this point, like in my personal mentoring relationship with Grant, I can count on 2 hands probably. And think about this. I work with the guy every day. I've been with him for almost 10 years. I could count on 2 hands, maybe even one hand, the times that I've gone up to him and been like, hey, yo, Grant, I need your advice on something. You want to know why? Because I took the time and I was committed enough to learning everything I possibly could without even talking to him about it. So a lot of you are looking for mentors, but you haven't even done the work. Like, how are they going to take you seriously if you're not taking them seriously? Their time is the most valuable thing they have, and you're wasting it by jumping on their lines and asking them dumb questions because you haven't gone through the proper steps to be mentored. So when the time does come, and I do have context for how this situation may be handled by somebody like Grant, or my particular situation could be helped by some of this advice, you have to ask unbelievable questions. Questioning, I mean, I could do 3 hours just on asking questions. Because the ability to ask a good question communicates so much to somebody. It's like one of the most gratifying things in the world when I ask a question and somebody goes, wow, that was an amazing question. Because it shows that you've taken time to actually try to think through, how do I get the biggest result by requiring the least amount of output from somebody. And in a sales process, questions are king. Questions will literally, in a sales process, the right questions will tell you exactly how to close any customer in any situation on any product. So you got to start figuring this question thing out. Number one is bad, like we talk about the sales process. We say that questions do one of two things. They either get you closer to a sale or they bring you back. There's no such thing as a question that just it falls flat and doesn't move. If you ask a bad question, it brings you back. There's good questions and there's bad questions. Somebody once said, there's no such thing as stupid questions, just stupid answers. There are definitely stupid questions. So you need to figure out hey, what question, how do I ask this question where I can get the most out of a guy like Grant, understanding things that have happened in the past in his training and his material, and I'm applying the context and getting everything wrapped up into this situation, and I could say, how would you handle this? How do you think I should approach this? And then that way you can ask one question that's really well thought out. Grant and Damon John were talking about this one day. They were doing an interview here in the office, and off camera, they were talking about people because they get asked questions all the time. And Damon was like, man, I can't believe how many people ask terrible questions. Questions should be very specific, and you should be looking for a very specific answer or response. When you ask very broad and very general questions that could not possibly be answered in 1 or 2 sentences, you will not get a response from most of these people. When somebody says, hey, what can I do to be more successful? Terrible question. When somebody says, hey, how can I make more money? Ridiculous question. It's stupid. How should I invest my money? Dumb question. Dude, you don't ask Grant how to invest money. You don't need to ask that question because you know the answer. Buy freaking apartment buildings on your own or invest in Cardone Capital. That's it. Now, do you have a specific question about that? Because that's probably the question you need to ask. So these are 5 things that I was able to do in my life working next to Grant and getting a lot of questions answered without even asking them. Just understanding that my relationship or definition of a mentor had to change. Number 2, I had to get clear on what I wanted so that I could move forward in the correct direction. And if I identified deficiencies, number 3, I'd go and find an expert in that area and learn everything I possibly could. Number 4, go deep on their material, learn everything I possibly could about them before I even reached out to them for anything. Some people see a video from Grant online, they watch a couple YouTube videos. I've been following Grant for 3 or 4 days, and then they're like, hey, could you mentor me? Ridiculous question. Do some work on your own. God damn. Dude, if you think that getting what you want is going to be that easy in life, you will be extremely disappointed. This is becoming what you want is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, but it's so freaking worth it. And a mentor can help you fast track that thing, but you will never get there if you don't follow these steps. because you're going to be looking for the wrong thing. You're going to be thinking that you're going to get something that you're not. You're not even going to be clear on what you want. And then you're going to ask stupid ass questions that aren't even going to get answers, and you're going to get written off. And then you're going to think, oh, to hell with the mentor thing. Nobody cares about me anyways. Right? And then you're like, okay, I give up on the mentor thing. Don't. Just follow these simple 5 steps. Number 1, redefine what it means. Number 2, clarify what you really want. Number 3, find an expert that aligns with what you want and can give you the data that you need. Number 4, go deep on their material before you even ever think about reaching out to them. And then number 5, when the time comes, make sure that you ask an unbelievable question. A lot of people reach out to me. They say, man, you have such an amazing opportunity. You've been so blessed to be mentored by Grant, but all I did was get mentored from afar. How'd you like to have a mentoring or a coaching session with Grant personally? You think that would be beneficial for you? Think of what question you would ask. Think of what you would look to get. Think of what you want. Prepare for this. Because Grant is going to give you a free mentoring session. Amazing, right? I haven't even had a mentoring or a coaching session with him, and he's going to give you one. On October 19th at noon East Coast Standard Time, Grant is going to do a monster mentoring call. He's going to be taking questions from people, and you better be prepared, because this is an opportunity for you to get exactly what you need from Grant. But you got to follow these steps. Define what it means. Clarify what you want. Find the expert. Go deep on their material. And then when it comes time to ask, oh, Uncle G, a question, make sure it's a good one. You can go to grantcardone.com/mentor to sign up. This is a limited time deal where we've got about 7 days that we're going to promote this thing. Then we're going to do it live. It will only be available live. You have to be on the live stream in order to watch it. It will not be recorded, and it will not be available after we finish it. Free. And it's free. GrantCardone.com/mentor. Sign up for the biggest mentoring coaching session that Grant Cardone has ever done, and make sure that you follow these steps to prepare you so that you can get your question answered. Believe me, when Grant goes through those feeds and we start getting questions submitted to us, bad questions just get written off. The questions that he answers are the ones where he knows that somebody took the time to go deep and try to get as much information about a topic as they could before they ask a question. So, I look forward to spending some time with you, because I'm going to be there on October 19th at noon. GrantCardone.com/mentor. If you want to have Grant do a free mentoring session for you, it's going to be awesome. Grant's committed at least 90 minutes to this. Whenever he does things like this, though, they always go long, because that's just what he does. He always over-delivers, and this time will be no different. So I look forward to seeing you October 19th. Noon East Coast Standard Time, grantcardone.com/mentor, so that you can make sure you join so that you can be mentored by the most prolific, the most significant, the most badass, the most complete mentor, entrepreneur on the face of this earth today, Mr. Grant Cardone. grantcardone.com/mentor. Go sign up, and remember, the only people who condemn the hustle are the ones who've already given up on the hustle themselves. We'll see you next week.